how lucky can a girl get? A 3.5-year run in that wondrous show, that's 2 years on Broadway and about 18 months in London with Rex Harrison, was followed by the musical Camelot, in which I worked with the equally wondrous Richard Burton and a young and very talented, very handsome and attractive Robert Goulet. Yes, I remember sitting on a bench on a stage night after night listening to Robert sing If Ever I Would Leave You. He was dressed in royal blue velvet leotard and tights, and while trying desperately to concentrate on my role, I often found myself thinking, oh my God, his legs are divine. Richards weren't bad either, I can tell you. It was towards the end of the run of Camelot that Walt Disney came backstage after seeing the show, and he asked me if I would like to come to Hollywood. He told me about a live action and animated movie that he was developing of Mary Poppins by P.L. Travers. He asked if I would like to come here to the studio to see the drawings and ideas that he was considering for the movie. Well, I remember saying to him, oh, Mr. Disney, I have to tell you, I'm expecting a baby in 6 months. And he said, well, that's all right, we'll wait. And he did. We arrived here in 1962, just as the groundbreaking and building of this Hawley Pavilion commenced. By the way, my daughter, Emma, went to UES here on the campus, the Seeds Elementary School, and she's now my collaborator and co-author in writing children's books. I never thought in those days that little girl that clung to my hip would grow up to be a beloved equal, and that we talk to each other as women and adults, and it is a joy to work with her. Anyway, the plans for Mary Poppins were so exciting. Disney's artists had put up illustrations of every scene in the script around several office walls. It's known as storyboarding, which I'm sure some of you know. So we were all able to comprehend exactly what Disney had in mind. The songs by the Sherman Brothers, Richard and Robert, had such a style about them, a sort of vaudeville rum-tum quality, which instantly I recognized as something I could embrace. Well, that movie was a huge stepping stone that has blessed my life ever since. Now, I wonder how many of you here tonight have seen The Sound of Music. I guess that's about 7 or 8 at least, right? Well, I want to tell you a silly story about the opening shot, which you just saw on that little piece of film. If you recall, in the movie, at the opening of the film, I stride across a mountain field and I turn with arms outstretched just before launching into song. So the bulk of that shot, walking across the field, was filmed from a helicopter, which had a camera strapped to the side of it where the door would have been, and a very brave cameraman was hanging by safety straps operating it. Now, I would start at one end of the field, and the helicopter would swoop down through the trees at the other end. And as I began walking, the helicopter would approach me, sideways of course, sort of crab-like, looking much like a sort of giant grasshopper. And when we got within a few feet of each other, I would make that turn just before singing. The cameraman would signal, okay. We would then start all over again, because of course there were many takes needed before we got that perfect shot. The trouble was, and this is true, as the helicopter circled me to go back to the base between the trees, the downdraft from his jet engines was so strong, it completely flattened me, dashing me to the ground. Now, you know, this is fine for a couple of takes, and knowing what was coming, I tried to stand my ground, but it really was impossible. impossible. Time after time, I bit the dust, spitting grass and mud, and I found myself becoming angrier and angrier. I mean, couldn't he see what was happening? And so finally, shaking my fist, I tried to signal to the copter pilot to take a wider swing around, but all I got was a thumbs up and a cheery wave from the cameraman, and I was slammed into the ground once again. So I want you to remember that when you next see the movie Some Christmas Or
Sunday, it's on
Sunday. 1965 was a very special year. I was blessed to receive an Oscar for Mary Poppins, my performance in that. And Sound of Music opened in theaters to overwhelmingly good reviews, and this magnificent Pauley Pavilion was finished and dedicated and has become the home of UCLA indoor sports and events. And now here am I, receiving a Lifetime Achievement Award. I consider myself a very lucky woman. My work and my life have afforded me opportunities to visit places that I could only dream about as a child. It also afforded me the ability to be an advocate for the things that I feel very strongly about: education, literacy, and the arts. At a time of budget cuts and belt-tightening, the arts are truly suffering, as I'm sure you all know, but UCLA has remained committed to making them available to you and the community, and I really appreciate and applaud the regents of the university and your chancellor, Jean Block, for understanding their importance. Are among the most fortunate people in the world also. You're attending a world-class university that has made and continues to make dreams come true. And what you are doing in the sciences, medicine, law, research, politics, advocacy, and the arts is making a difference. It really is. Realizing your dreams will make this crazy world of ours a better place. So, if you haven't taken a class in music, theater, film, television, dance, art, recreation, or if you haven't taken the opportunity to enrich your lives by attending music, dance, or stage performances here on campus or at the lovely Gershwin Theater, please do so. It uplifts all our hearts. It broadens our horizons. It brings introspection and joy to our lives. In closing, I would like to share with you a quote, I'll paraphrase it, from the author and poet, Catherine Ann Porter. She in essence said, "When all about you is destroyed and lying in the dust, it is the art that will define us as a civilization." And I believe that to be true. So